The Hermit invites you to retreat into your private world and experience a deep sense of seclusion and introspection. That's what I need. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do something that I've done in the past, but it's been a while. So that is tarot card book recommendations. So I will be pulling a few tarot cards from the Black Lily deck. This is the tarot deck that I use all the time. I love it so much. The art is so beautiful. So I'm going to be pulling a few cards from that deck, and then I will be recommending a book or maybe two books based on each card. You might be a bit confused as to why my hair changes repeatedly in videos. It's because I had some stuff pre-filmed that I wanted to get out before I had got my hair cut. So I think I'm caught up with the footage now, so you should be seeing just my new haircut as well as the new glasses I got. So very exciting stuff. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so the first card that I pulled was Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Cups, according to Biddy Tarot, represents love, new relationships, compassion, and creativity. It says, now is the perfect time for you to open your heart and experience the rich flow of emotion available to you right now. You are more receptive to creative opportunities, loving connections, and deep compassion for other living beings. I'll put the link to Biddy Tarot's website in the description as well, so if you need to look up any of these or you want to look up any meanings of tarot cards, you can do that. So I have chosen two books for the Ace of Cups card. The first one is sort of obvious. It is the love and new relationships kind of vibe. And for that, I chose Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This probably won't be a surprise. I don't read a lot of romance, and I don't read a lot of books where there is a healthy, new, loving relationship in it. A lot of the relationships in the books that I read are negative, but this book is about a new relationship and a very loving relationship. So this book follows our main character, Chloe Brown, who has fibromyalgia, and because of that, she doesn't get to go out and do a lot. So she writes a list of all of these things that she wants to do in order to get a life. And along the way, she meets Red, and he helps her to complete some of the items on her list, but they end up falling in love in the process, which wasn't really Chloe's intention. But it is about a new relationship and new beginnings in that way, and both of them sort of being able to accept each other's love, which is something that they didn't think they would be able to do. And it's really beautiful and cute and very spicy. But yeah, I highly recommend this one, and I think it fits really well with the Ace of Cups. So like I was saying before, the other aspect of the Ace of Cups is more about being receptive to creative connections, deep compassion for other living beings, those kind of things. And this one is a children's book, but just hear me out. It is Surviving the Applewhites by Stephanie S. Tolan, one of my favorite books of all time. In this book, our main character goes from being the bad kid who doesn't want to be a part of this homeschool family's life. He doesn't have really a choice at this point. They've given him the choice of going to juvie or going to the Applewhites family home, and the Applewhites are this big homeschool family that have like no structure, and they're very creative. They do a lot of like creative projects, but it's not like a public school environment that Jake would be used to. And it is the beginning of a creative opportunity for Jake, because he is able to not only go from someone who doesn't want to interact with people, doesn't want to be creative, just wants to be the bad kid, quote unquote, to somebody who is able to make those loving connections with the family around him and is able to find compassion for the people around him as well as for animals. And he ends up having a lot of creative opportunities. He ends up being in a play, and it's all very exciting for him and gives him so many new perspectives and opportunities in life. And so much of this book is about being creative and being open to new things. So even though it is kind of a middle grade / YA book, I think that it fits the Ace of Cups really well, and it is just a wonderful book overall. So highly, highly recommend this one. So the second card that I pulled is the Hermit, which is one of my favorite cards. And it is about soul searching, introspection, being alone, and inner guidance, which are all clearly my vibes. It says, the Hermit invites you to retreat into your private world and experience a deep sense of seclusion and introspection. That's what I need. So for this prompt, I have chosen two books. Both are technically nonfiction, but they're sort of essay / memoir-ish. The first one is Bluets by Maggie Maggie Nelson. It is musings on the color blue, but it's not just about the color blue, it's about all of the associations that Maggie Nelson has with the color blue. So it talks about feeling blue, and she has a lot of discussions of a significant other of hers, a past relationship, and she calls him the Prince of Blue. So it's talking about blue in terms of emotions, and there's also a lot of introspection about sexuality and grief, and also just random tangents that she goes on. So to me, this is like the epitome of just introspection and exploring your own thoughts, because it is so winding and there's just so much going on. But to me, that is really how her brain works, or at least we're getting to see a peek into how her brain works. And it really feels like she took the time to really sit with these thoughts and write them out and had time to be with herself. And it translates so well into this book. This writing style is so beautiful and unique. And when I read it, I really wanted to do the same. I really wanted to sit with my thoughts and be introspective and write down thoughts that I had. So this was a very inspiring book, but I think it fits the Hermit very well. And the other book I've chosen is sort of similar thematically, and it is Bird's Art Life by Kyle McClear. This is a memoir that talks about how the author decided to go bird watching and how that helped her creativity, how that helped her deal with grief and the things she was going through in her life with her father being ill. And it is so introspective. It examines her thoughts and her patterns of creativity and how she gets inspiration, and talks a lot about sitting in nature and all of those kinds of things, which I also really associate with the Hermit. It's not only just being alone and taking time for yourself, but it's connecting to nature and connecting to yourself and all of those kind of things. And I think this fits really well for that. So those two books would be my recommendations for the Hermit card. Okay, the next card I chose was the Fool, and Biddy Tarot says that the Fool relates to beginnings, innocence, spontaneity, and a free spirit. The Fool encourages you to have an open, curious mind and a sense of excitement. Be ready to embrace the unknown, leaving behind any fear, worry, or anxiety about what may or may not happen. So I only have one pick for this one, but I think it fits a lot of those keywords pretty well, and it is Clara and the Sun by Kazu Ishiguro. This book follows a AI, or AF as they call them, artificial friends, named Clara. The story picks up when Clara is in the window of the storefront she's being held at, and she ends up getting taken and chosen by a girl named Josie, goes home with her, and basically has to be her friend, live with her, learn her patterns, learn about her. And it's all told from Clara's perspective, so we're in the mind of a robot. One of the reasons why I chose this is the idea of beginnings. Clara begins her life in this storefront, and it's about her being in sort of an infantile, innocent state, and how she progresses over time to be more of an elderly figure in her family. While she isn't necessarily a free spirit because she is held to all of the things that she has to do as a robot, Clara is very open to learning new things. She is curious, and she is very excited by the idea of having a family and having a little girl to take care of. While I don't think this fits every single sort of keyword of the Fool, I think the essence of that card is captured really well with Clara and the Sun. Okay, finally I chose 5 of Pentacles. This is kind of a sad card, and it talks about financial loss, poverty, and a lack mindset, isolation, and worry. It says at times the 5 of Pentacles highlights a lack mindset. You are sabotaging your ability to create abundance because you only focus on what you lack. All you can see is what is going wrong. I actually decided to give you a few recommendations for this one to make up for my one recommendation for the Fool. But I have a few different books for different aspects of this card because it is a hard card to pin down to one book. So the first one I have to recommend is Luster by Raven Leilani. This one follows our main character Edie, and she ends up beginning a relationship with a married man and ends up moving in with him and his wife and their adopted daughter. Thematically, there's a lot of discussion of being a woman and being a Black woman and what that looks like, especially when she is around this white family and the only other Black person is this young girl who the parents have adopted. But I mainly chose this one for the poverty and the isolation and the worry and the inability to get out of all of those things. And also I think there is a little bit of that lack mindset. She is so stuck in the situation that she's in and so stuck in her own mind that she can't use the talents that she has. She's incredibly talented at art. She can't even really use those to get out of that mindset. She's so stuck, and there is a really intense feeling of haziness in this book, that she's just so involved in this haze of her mind that she can't get out of it. But a lot of these struggles that she goes through, yes, they are internal, but they are circumstantial. She is very poor and she doesn't have a lot of opportunities. And the opportunity that comes along, which is basically to sleep with a married man and live in his house, is really not great, and it puts her in a really scary and bad situation. So that's why I chose this one for the Five of Pentacles. I will preface the next two for this prompt by saying that they are not to do with financial loss at all. In fact, at least one of these books talks a lot about how privileged one of the main characters is and how most people just do not get to be in the situation that she's in because she is so privileged. So these really don't have to do with the financial aspect of the Five of Pentacles. They more have to do with the mindset aspect of the card. So the first one is My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa Moshfegh. This follows our unnamed main character as she decides to get as many pills as possible to sort of go into a hibernation and sleep a whole year away, hoping that when she gets out of her hibernation, she will have a new life and feel like a new person and be able to be happy now. And just like the Five of Pentacles says, she is so focused on what she doesn't have. She lost her parents and she's not being treated well by her boyfriend, and the relationship with her best friend is tenuous, but she also has a ton of money and she is in a good position that if she wanted to get out of her situation, she has the financial means to do so. But instead, she decides to go into hibernation and take a bunch of drugs and try to deal with her problems that way, which is not healthy and is not productive. So she's not able to, as the card says, create abundance in her life other than financial abundance that was passed down by her father, because she is unable to get out of that cyclical mindset that things are just so terrible for her to even try to make them better. And the final recommendation is The Pisces by Melissa Broder, which has a lot of thematic similarities to My Year of Rest and Relaxation, in that this character has an opportunity to go to her sister's house and dog sit for her. It's on the beach, it's beautiful, she is getting paid, she doesn't have to pay rent or anything. Her sister's basically giving her a ticket to a wonderful, happy summer without consequences or anything like that. She has a job, she's working on a long piece about Sappho, so she really has a lot of things going for her, but she is dealing with some mental illness, and I don't know if she fully acknowledges that she has some issues that need to be worked out. I think she just thinks that her situation is so bad that it doesn't really matter what she does, and she goes to all of these different vices, mainly sex, to try to make herself feel better. So she ends up sort of destructing her life because she is so focused on all of those negative parts of it that she can't look at the positive things and the opportunities given to her and try to get herself out of sort of the hole that she's in because she has all these opportunities. It's frustrating to read that kind of book because you know that they could change their situation if they really wanted to, or if they really felt that they could. Nevertheless, it is a very, very good book, and I think that it fits the Five of Pentacles very well. Okay, these are my tarot book recommendations. I hope that you enjoyed this video and got a good recommendation out of it. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.